Hi everybody, Renee Pocoy with Organic Stepping Stones. So glad you tuned in today. We're talking about sauerkraut, and there's much greater nutritional value in actual sauerkraut that's been naturally fermented than there is vitamin content if you just ate plain old raw cabbage. Very simple. We'll go over a couple little things. You want to take your head of cabbage. I'm going to cut it in half, cut it in quarters. Remove the loose outer leaves, remove the core. It's way too hard. Sauerkraut can just be cabbage and Celtic sea salt. We want salt with minerals. We don't want salt that's been bleached and everything. And for every head of cabbage, we're going to use 1 to 2 tablespoons. And you can always taste it, because once it's in there, you can't really take it out. I'm going to sprinkle it in, and in this bowl, I already have the cabbage chopped, and this is my favorite recipe, and it's cabbage, carrots, chopped up apple, and then a hunk of daikon radish. If you're not familiar with a daikon radish, here's part of the one that I cut. Just adds another texture, and somebody says, Renee, how did you come up with that recipe? And I laughed because it's, hey, that's what I had in my kitchen. And that's how some great ferments are made. Okay, so after you have it in your bowl, you can do this one of 3 ways. You can let the salt work on it, and we want to pull the juices and the liquid out of the vegetables. Or, and so I can take it, I added the salt, I could toss it like this, and I could set it on the side and come back in another hour, maybe toss it some more. Another option is, if I want it, I can actually start massaging it with my hands. And when I say that, some people crack up. No, you're not getting a back rub. I'm working on the cabbage here. You could do that, or you can even use what's called a kraut pounder. And this is one that I had made for me. And you could take this and you could start pounding. And what we want to achieve in this process is, here's another batch that I made, and this one I used the Celtic sea salt. I added turmeric and black pepper, and I added the black pepper because then the turmeric absorbs more, and then look at all of the juice that squeeze out. So that's what I'm looking to achieve. Once it's at that level, I'm going to take my mason jar, I'm going to fill it up. I use the canning container because it's just less messy, on the top to pack it in there. As I get going, I'm going to use my kraut pounder. You could use your hand, the back of your spoon. You don't have to go out and buy special equipment. I'm all about using what's in the kitchen. So I'm going to kind of push it down, and you can see when I knock out all the air bubbles how much it goes down. So we'll just continue packing the jar, get the rest of all of this goodness in there. I will say though, if you put a lot of turmeric in your sauerkraut, your hands will turn yellow. How do I know that? Been there, done that. Anyways, we're going to pound this down, get all the bubbles out, and you can see how some of the liquid is starting to come to the top now. If it doesn't, what you can do is add a little bit of water in here, because we already have the salt, so that'll give us a little bit more brine, a little bit juicier. You don't want to go too much further than this, because I'm going to cap it. I'm going to set it on the counter, and it's going to expand. Right now, can you hear that? That's what the canning jar does. In a couple of days, pressure is going to form, and you won't be able to push down. There will be bubbles that go on in here. You will have liquid about day 3, 4. You might want to do a quick twist, let a little of that pressure off, and also write the date you made it and your ingredients. So if it's a success, you know how to replicate it, and if it's a not, you know how to not do that one again. So, and I always like to put a bowl under mine, under the counter, and then once it's to the way you want it, or if you have many jars, you just move them to cold storage, which could be your basement. Once you open and start eating, if you allow the oxygen to go in, you need to refrigerate. So with that, sauerkraut, everybody, enjoy. Add it to your diet. See you next time.